In Florida, private property stops at the mean high tide line and public property begins. That relates to what we would call the dry sand beach and the wet sand beach. And those are presumptive determinations. There could be distinctions individually depending on historical circumstances. But as a general rule, the mean high tide line sets the boundary between private property and public property, unless the beach is in public ownership. So the dry sand beach would typically be private, and the wet sand beach, that is the amount of beach that is exposed between the mean high tide and the mean low tide, or low tide, would be public. Public always has a right to access what we call the wet sand beach, to use that. The problem is that twice a day you have high tides, and so at those high tides there is no wet sand beach, and so the only place for the public to use the beach is the dry sand beach. The traditional issues in Florida historically have been over perpendicular access. That is, the ability of people to get to the beach to recreate due to the fact that there is private property adjacent to the beach, and so there has to be a means for the public to reach the beach in order to exercise their recreational rights. That's changing, and that's changing because the beaches are eroding by and large. There are instances where it's accreting, but for the most part the beaches are eroding, and that means that lateral access is going to be the issue going into the future. Lateral access is the ability of an individual or the public to walk up and down the beach, and as the beaches diminish, that access is being reduced. Recreational access to Florida's beaches is important not only for Floridians and their sort of overall health and well-being, but it's a huge economic driver of the state of Florida. The coastline is extremely important to the state, and ensuring that the public has access to those beaches for tourism is a significant factor in the whole question of access.